Well, howdy everybody, and welcome back. I'm JD, along with my good buddy Gail. How you doing tonight, Gail?
Doing very well this evening, thank you.
You look fantastic. I hope your wife does better and gets out of the hospital pretty quick. So
Yep, she's making it, but
that's
slowly.
good. And just to let everybody know, we're new to this world of video shows and YouTube, and we're just a couple guys get together and talk, and who knows what comes about out of our mouths. We like cryptocurrency. We kind of got into that not early enough. You can find us on Facebook under Every Bit Matters, because right now every bit does matter. So if you're on Facebook, just give us a look. Just do a search for Every Bit Matters. We have a YouTube channel called Gale Force Creations. You got to check that out too. And then we're also on this new thing called BitTube. Under BitTube, you can find us under Gale Force. And we'll put all that in the description when we do all these videos. We're getting better at it. So again, welcome to the show. We call this Gale Force, and we talk about current events and all kind of goodies. And right now, any idea what the price of Bitcoin is?
Hold on a second, I'll tell you.
Well, since you're a little slow tonight, I already got it. It's down to 38.36.
Really?
That's what I have. I'm looking at it right now. It says 38.36. What do you got?
Let me refresh it because mine says. Yep. Okay. Did a refresh. Yeah. Bitcoin 38, 35, something like that, depending where you go to, and Bitcoin and Litecoin's $31.
Holy moly!
Ethereum's 110.
So I felt pretty good when I sold you my Litecoin.
Yeah.
You know, I've often wondered, and a lot of people kind of wonder how they come up with this price. You know, how do they figure out the price? And I was reading a couple articles, and I saw an article where it looks like the big institutions are buying into Bitcoin pretty big. But you would think that if the big institutions are buying into Bitcoin, you would think that would cause the price to rise. So
And
why?
volume increase too.
Yeah. So why is that not happening? How is it if they're buying Bitcoin, which the article says it looks because they had like a not on the record with one of the investors, and he says we hope the price keeps going down because us big investors are really digging into this and we're buying as much as we can. Now, how can they be doing that? The price not go up.
Well, the way I gather it is the price that we watch, like in Coin Market Cap, is an amalgamation of all of the cryptocurrency inlets like Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, Bittrex, Binance, all these. But the big boys are buying what's called over the counter. They're buying it off the books, and it isn't counted in the volume or the price. And when people it's low and they need gas money and they start selling stuff, they're buying it, but it's not showing up on the volumes.
Yeah. So kind of like what happened is the price we see going down is people selling the Bitcoin. But in order to get that Bitcoin into let's say US dollars, they have to go through like Coinbase. So what they do is they sell their Bitcoin, they get their cash, and then they put it into Coinbase, and then they transfer it to the bank.
Correct.
The big investors are buying it through Coinbase instead of they're not going to go to exchange and take a chance buying it through exchange. They're going to go to the pretty much like the wholesaler. And that doesn't show up on the exchanges.
Correct. Well, you see, Coinbase is an exchange, but it's also got another side called Coinbase Pro. And
Yeah.
Coinbase Pro, they don't throw those numbers and that volumes into what they report to Coin Market Cap.
Correct.
So when you and I take and we're short of money, we sell some cryptos to Coinbase to get fiat wired to our bank.
Yep.
They're selling it out the back door and not counting it as a sale.
Yeah. So there could be a chance that some big investment companies are actually right now buying up a lot of Bitcoin, and it's not showing up anywhere. It's not doing nothing to the price. Now, I don't know, they could hold it and hope the price goes up, but if they just hold it and leave it in Coinbase, it pretty much doesn't do nothing to the market. So they must have something in the background or something that they're going to do in the future in order to make the price go up.
What's going to happen is there's such structures being built. There's what's it called? Wait a minute. Blockchains LLC is building a whole city out in Nevada. There's all kinds of stuff. You've got all your big exchanges have a trading desk.
Yep.
The Intercontinental ICE Intercontinental Exchange, they're getting a big crypto thing for a worldwide marketing and going to have a thing called BACT, BAKKT.
And that takes off the beginning of next year.
Correct.
So
what's going to happen is they're going to be juggling up and down, up and down. And what's going to happen, because they've been sopping up and soaking up all the Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and stuff like that, when the price does move, and they start moving it, you will see Bitcoin at, I don't know, 4,000 or 5,000, because they've been washing it back and forth they'll wash it back and forth between 3,800 and 5,000, probably several times before the first year.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Little connection problem. Give it a second. We're still good. Don't worry.
Yeah. I mean, it's because they're holding so many coins, and that's another way to keep the little guy out. If it explodes $10,000 over a weekend, now I'm just a guesstimate now, my conspiracy theory stuff, but if they're soaking up all of that they can grab their grubby hands on for months and months and months, when they turn the bulls loose, like the running of the bulls in Spain, they're coming out rip roaring and snorting, and the horns are sharpened, and when they come running down the street, it's not going to go up $100 a day. It's not going to go up $2 a day, because they're going to have all these retirement funds and everything else. They're going to have bought tens of thousands of Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and stuff like that. They're not going to let you get into it on today's price.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, hell no. They're going to make the price jump from 4,000 or 5,000 up to 15,000.
Yeah.
Drop it back to 10, and then zip it up to 30.
Yeah.
And when you're putting your money in your Vanguard fund or whatever, they're claiming it's $15,000 or $20,000, and they bought it at $5,000.
Yeah.
So they've made money several ways all at once, and they're trying to tell you what a good deal you made.
Yeah, and this is what I think might hurt the economy, because this is what they're doing with silver, as we mentioned. As we were talking before the show, we were talking about silver and how the price of silver is being artificially being kept low, and so low that you told me that one of the big dealers is actually closing up. I haven't heard
They're
that.
actually closing down because their mining costs are at or a little below the cost for them to produce it. Now, the other ones, what's going on is they've been getting silver as a byproduct from doing zinc and copper.
Yeah.
So those people are almost getting the silver for free. They're only paying $4 or $5 an ounce. But if you honestly are mining for silver,
you got problems.
It costs you to mine it, bring it up, process it, and turn it into silver, smelt it down. you're talking $12, $13 an ounce, and you're selling for 14.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
just about zero profit margin.
Yeah. It's kind of like what happened with fracking. You know, when oil was 70, $80 a barrel.
80 and $100, man, they were making big money.
Yeah, because you could frack it and make money, but it's expensive to frack the oil. Now that the oil is dropping in prices, again, they're having problems in Texas where they're
Right.
not producing as much oil as they were because the prices really dropped. I got gas for 2.12 a gallon today, you know, and I'm like, wow, this is great. Just a couple of weeks ago, 2.70 a gallon. So I'm kind of loving it. Take advantage while you can, but it hurts the economy the whole way around. And I can see this Bitcoin thing. You know, everybody says this is the death meal. You know, it's going down again. You know, Bitcoin has been on the deathbed, what, 300 times so far?
Yeah, I don't know. It's been dead about 20 or 30 times in the last year and a half that you and I have been into it.
Yeah. So, you know,
And first for oil, before we get off oil,
yeah,
okay, you said about the fracking.
yeah,
In the Dakotas and up into Canada, they had the shale oil thing.
yes,
Okay, back when oil was between 80 and $100, they were making good money off shale oil. Now that the price is down to 70 or below, they're going under. Now, this is, you see, well, that's good for them. They can go under. Well, wait a minute. Everybody runs on the bank because the bank lends you money to make you payroll this week. The bank lends you money for the doggone your supplies to come into the grocery store. The banks will start collapsing when these oil companies start collapsing because there'll be hundreds of billions of dollars in outstanding debt to the banks. It is a true domino thing. This low oil price is not going to just screw up Saudi Arabia.
yeah,
It's going to screw up a lot of our banks.
yeah. What I heard is Saudi Arabia was afraid of our processing by fracking, and they wanted to get the oil down low enough to where we stop fracking, and they seem to have done that because they can. I heard they could go as low as $40 a gallon, $40 a barrel, and Saudi Arabia is okay because of the amount of oil they have. But in the long run, it hurts everybody. And cheap gas, people think that cheap gas prices are really good, but it shows the economy is not doing well because there's not enough demand for the gas. So
That's part of the reason why the price is going down.
Yeah,
Is we've got more efficient cars and people are carpooling because they're not getting paid good wages. People aren't getting paid $25 an hour, so they're carpooling. So that
yes,
cuts down the amount of fuel being used.
yes, and there's less. I've heard that there's more truck drivers retiring, so we have less truck drivers on the road, and that just makes the price of the product go up. Now, their fuel price is cheap, but they don't have enough truckers to move the products around, so that makes the prices of our products go up, so we can't buy as much, and this slows the economy down. So
And part of that,
there is all kind of things right now happening to the economy in the background that people don't really realize. It's funny, you know, my wife goes to the grocery store and the price of food's going up and the price of everything else is going up and the price of gas is going down. And now we find Bitcoin's going down, and now we think the big banks and the big institutions are buying into Bitcoin. I mean, and silver is dropping, and now we hear that GM's going to be closing a couple of plants.
actually, 2 in Canada and 1 in Ohio. So it's in 2019, they're going to shut down 3.
Yeah, and they're kind of blaming it on the tariffs, which I can see. And tariffs is how we used to run the country when we first started, but it can kind of hurt us, and that's probably what's hurting us. So, but then again, GM's been in problem, and they've been pulled out of bankruptcy before. If you're a bad company, you got to go under, just like a bad bank. If you're a bad bank, and guess what? If we have another economic problem, there is no way the government can save the banks this time.
Oh, there'd be a revolution. It'd be like the people doing the gas riots in Paris.
Well, they can't print enough money to save the banks. There's no way.
If they were to print and do a Weimar Republic, the public would revolt.
Well,
So back to the trucking thing. Can we go back to that for a second?
yeah.
See, everybody has been brainwashed and schooled in the education camps. Brainwashed.
That's what they are. They're indoctrination camps.
Indoctrination camps.
Because they don't teach a lot there anymore. It's just to teach you how to show up on time and go to work.
Right. Okay. And we've also been brainwashed to believe that you need regulations for this and you need regulations for that. Here's another problem with the truckers. Yes, the baby boomers, the truckers, and stuff like that are retiring, and they can't get people to replace them.
Yep.
You know why? It's not that they don't make good money, because all of the ICC DOT regulations, you have to have a totally clean record. You are randomly drug tested a couple times a month. Okay, now what does that knock out of people that like to do a little recreational weed? You can't be a truck driver.
Yeah.
If you've got a criminal record, you can't be a truck driver.
It's just they're so over-regulating everything. You know, I've always had that feeling that good people don't need laws and bad people don't care about laws.
Correct. So, locks are only for honest people.
Yeah. So you could pass all the laws you want and it doesn't stop people. It only gives you a reason to put them in jail.
Right. It's like having more gun regulations. Killing people's against the law.
Yeah.
How are more regulations going to change that?
And it's just
in England, they tried that. Now, if anybody doesn't want to believe me, just go ahead and Google this. England for years has been basically a gun-free country.
Yeah.
With all of their Middle Eastern and Eastern African immigrants, crimes have gone up so much. There are more stabbings in London per week than there are deaths and shootings in Chicago. Oh, wait a minute. I said stabbings, right? Now, do you know what they proposed for a law? What's the stupidest thing you could think they could do? They've literally passed a law that all knives must have the end of it ground off because you can't have a knife that's got a pointed end. That's their cure for the problem. Don't kick the bad people out. Grind a point off of a steak knife.
Well, I guess they'll have to get rid of grinders next, huh?
No, they literally tried passing a law in London that everybody had to grind the pointed end off of all steak knives, all butcher knives, and butcher shops and restaurants would have to register the knives that had points on them. Now, how's that for a libtard thing? Now, go ahead. Pause this thing and look it up. I dare you. That's too silly not to be true.
Not only that, you can get arrested for something you say on social media if you. And I still haven't figured out what hate speech is yet.
Whatever they determine.
There's a lot of things I hate. You know, I'm all for hate speech. I want to know if somebody is hateful, because that way I know what kind of person they are. If they're holding back because they're afraid of hate laws, then I really don't know this person, and how am I going to interact with them? I'm all for free speech. That's one good thing our Constitution was right. Free speech. Say what you want. Now, of course, Facebook can throw you off. Twitter can throw you off, but that's really stupid. That's not going to stop people hating. There's going to be
bottle up anger.
There's going to be racism forever. It's been around forever. It's going to be around forever until you free people, until people can realize they can get along with their neighbor without all these stupid laws. And now we have people. You can't even be neighbors with somebody because if you look at them, they could say, "Well, he gave me a hateful look." Is that going to be the next thing? Hateful look?
You know how silly it is, JD?
Let's hear it.
I told you, but we need to tell our listeners. I literally saw there's a group saying that J.R.R. Tolkien was racist towards orcs.
Well,
they weren't doing it as a joke. They were serious that J.R.R. Tolkien was hate speech and racist towards orcs.
I don't know if he was right or not because I've never met an orc, so I couldn't. I don't have an opinion on that.
So something in a fantasy world can be racism and hate speech. Now that's how silly we've got this stuff.
I've yet to meet a person who is not racist. And people aren't using the term racist correctly anyway, and hate and all this. Words don't have meanings anymore. Like, everything's backwards. We call it racism, but it's not racism. It's hate, and people hate. I hate a lot of things, and there's a few people I hate.
Something? You're racist to a rainy day. I mean, now actually, it's more close to bigotry is the problem.
Yeah.
But racism is just a doggone silly word to try and browbeat people.
Yeah, if you say something wrong, they call you racist. I'd rather call it stupidity. I'm against stupid people, but I kind of like stupid people because they give me laughs every time I look at warning labels, and I kind of realize, really how stupid some people are by looking at the warning labels, and I'm more against stupid people, even though I like them around because I can laugh at them a lot and make a lot of jokes. I'm the kind of person I like to poke people with sticks. I do have a Facebook account, and I'll say something, and people think, I'm taking it serious, and then once I explain it to them, they finally get it, because I was talking about the traffic jams. Look at this. I made a post about traffic jams during Thanksgiving, and I said, I can't wait till Trump's out of office so we don't have this bad traffic during Thanksgiving again.
I saw some of those comments, and some of these people, they were in the boat.
And somebody said, well, how is Trump causing the traffic jams? And I said, look, I've got so many people that hate Trump that if I just mention it, it makes them go nuts. And I like poking people with sticks because that shows how stupid they are. It's like, you actually think Trump had something to do with the traffic? And I just laugh my ass off, I like to I got to laugh at least once a day, and I'll find some stupid person to laugh at. So.
Everything, if it rains, it's Trump's fault. If the price of something goes up, it's Trump's fault. Now, Trump has a bazooka mouth, and we all know he's arrogant.
Yeah, he's arrogant.
He's got a whole basket full of snakes he's dealing with.
Yeah, he's in the worst place you could be. But I think he's having fun doing it, even though that they're really trying to get to him, and but
he's just snickering and laughing because he can. When this is over, he can go home and still be a billionaire.
It's funny. He's one of the first presidents who was never a politician.
Right. And he never apologizes unless he really is wrong.
Yeah.
You can try and tell him he's wrong, but unless he is, he won't apologize.
And he's just driving everybody nuts. And it's funny, I know we're kind of off subject, but since we're talking about Trump real quick, we had these fires in California.
Right.
And then he immediately put out a tweet saying, well, it's because California wasn't letting the government come in there and clean up the dead trees and under federal land because California wouldn't let him do it. And then he got all kind of hell for it. But he's correct. If you don't clean out all the garbage, you're just leaving tinder. But then the governor of California says, that was a bad tweet because people lost their lives, and he's blaming it on because we don't rape enough. But then Governor Brown tweeted something that was even worse, saying that we're trying to be environmental friendly, and it's good for the forest, and he's trying to blame it on climate change. And yet, I actually looked it up and found out that there are actually less forest fires in the last 5 years.
Right.
It's global warming causing these fires.
No, global warming caused no fires.
It's worse because they're not cleaning up the mess.
Right.
Yeah. So, Trump does have a big mouth, but he's correct most of the time. People just don't like him because he's not a politician.
That's like if you have a big garbage dump. If you don't cover it up, there's going to be rats and feral hogs out there rooting through it. You got
to talk about the big investors. So we're thinking that Bitcoin back opens.
You're kind of locked up, Wayne.
Locked up?
Yeah, again.
Everything.
Can you see me? Well, let's see if I can come up with some moves to fill us up here for a while. There was a massive blast near a chemical plant in China, kills 22 and damaged 50 vehicles out there. There you go. Aha.
Are we back?
We're back.
Oh, but it's not recording. It just put us on hold. Oh no, it says it's still recording.
There you go. It says it's recording.
I don't see you yet.
Well, I'm here.
I hear you.
You're fuzzy, though.
Oh, I haven't shaved him.
No. You're pixelated.
He's in there playing Xbox.
Uh-huh.
That's the problem. Let me put it on hold for one more second.
All right.
There you are.
All righty.
I guess I'm going to put a curfew on him.
I guess.
No, I need to look at my router tomorrow and check that out. And with somebody else.
So anyway, go ahead and go back to what you were started doing there.
I forgot what it was.
Something about the big boys with Bitcoin.
Oh yeah. So I'm hoping that by the beginning of the year we start seeing prices increasing again. I haven't seen any new ICOs and any new ideas. Oh, that's what I was going to talk about. Here, I got to move. I got to move a little bit. Oh, I'm getting comatose. It's getting cold here in Florida.
Yeah, it's supposed to be right down close to 40 tomorrow morning.
Yeah, again, everybody, you can find us on Every Bit Matters on Facebook and check out YouTube. Gale Force Creations. Excuse me. Oh, I was just thinking of it. It had something to do with the economy.
Big boys in Bitcoin.
Oh, the difference between how the U.S. government and how the European government.
Yeah, you were telling me you were going to explain that to me.
Okay. The Europeans are going to have a harder time getting Bitcoins and digital coins here in the near future because the central banks over in Europe are coming down hard on them because, like you said, they want to know the transactions and get the tax money on every little transaction, even little, like going to buy a coffee, they want to get a piece of the action.
Yep.
And they're actually going into some of the exchanges there. And you think we have to fill out paperwork in order to start opening accounts? In Europe, it's going to be a mess pretty soon because they're going to want to know exactly who you are and all kinds of stuff. Whereas here, our government is kind of kicking back, and they're going to try to treat, as we noticed, they're not really, the SEC is taking their time doing the FTC,
Right.
EFTs and all that. But our government wants to make money on the capital gains.
Okay.
They want to make big bucks, but they're hoping that Bitcoin will take off. They don't want to really interfere in Bitcoin because they want to get the tax off the capital gains. They want to treat it like the stock market because that's how the stock market is. You make a big profit, you pay capital gains. Whereas in Europe, they want every transaction to be taxed, not when you sell it and finally put it in your bank and pay the capital gains. So there's a difference in how the central banks are working in Europe and how our government's going to be treating cryptocurrencies. So, I'm kind of feeling good in, being here because it might be easier for us to buy and sell Bitcoin and try to do it anonymously, whereas pretty soon you won't be able to do it anonymously. You're going to have to put up all your information before you can even buy anything because they're really good deep. That's the latest thing I've read over there, and it could be a mess in Europe.
Well, see, there's another option. For the time being, the U.S. wants to do capital gains. But if they ever get things working, they'll cut the capital gains back if you use it to buy stuff so they can get sales tax.
Yeah. I mean, it's a win-win situation over here. Whereas in Europe, they have the VAT tax and everything, and they'll be taxing it 2 or 3 times. But just to get it in Europe is going to be hard.
Oh, yeah, because they're just so hurting for money, so strapped for money, because, they got, like 8 million people that they said, but it's probably closer to 10 or 12 million people that come floating into the country, and they need money.
Yeah. Yeah. So it would be an interesting year next year if we can just make it through this year. I can't believe it's, we've already gone through Thanksgiving and Christmas is right around the corner. All right, we've been on for a little bit. We had a call tonight. And again, you can find us on Facebook under Every Bit Matters because right now I think Every Bit Matters.
Absolutely.
I think this is a fire sale. If you got a couple $100, don't invest a lot, but put a little bit into it. And then let's see what happens, and we'll continue playing with it. But again, you can check us on YouTube under Gale Force Creations and on BitTube, which is getting more popular. And we'll see what happens. you know, we're going to try to do this as often as we can because we got so much to talk about.
Something else to remember about that, if they do have the capital gains.
Yeah.
If you keep it for a year, the capital gains is only 10%.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Buy and hold.
If you hold it for at least a year,
yeah.
Let's say, God, may you be blessed by the gods. Let's say you made $100,000. Would you rather pay 10,000?
Yeah.
Or 38,000?
Yep.
And if you hold it a whole year, you're only talking about 10 or 12% capital gains.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's how they're going to treat it. So let's hope they don't change that. So,
right. So, hey, buy and hold, baby. Buy and hold.
Buy and hold. And if you do want to use it for transactions, do it for small stuff, and save it for, once you make a couple million, then you can buy your house, pay it off, and then you're done.
Yeah. And even if you if you got enough that you can buy a new car or buy a couple $100,000 house.
Yep.
Oh, well, so you had to pay capital gain tax, but you have the title to your car and your house.
Can't wait to do it again tomorrow night. Hopefully I'll dig up some more news. In the meantime, you dig up some more news, and there is some sad news that Gail told me earlier before we started the show. Poor old SpongeBob. What happened to SpongeBob?
The actual creator and head of SpongeBob SquarePants, he lost his battle and he died at the age of 57. So the creator of SpongeBob SquarePants is no longer with us.
That's sad to hear because I grew up with SpongeBob, and that makes me feel old because I'm 57 and in 2 days I turn 58. Oh no, I better do something with my life.
There you go.
I guess I'll go have me another beer.
There you go. That sounds like a winner. I'll drink that.
All right, everybody. We had a good time. I'm JD. This is Gail. You've been watching this on Gale Forest. We'll be back with some more good news tomorrow night. In the meantime, check us out on Facebook. Check us out on YouTube. We'll go from there.
All righty.
Have fun.